Hello, welcome to episode 29 of the Islanders podcast. My name is James.
And my name is Daniel.
And my name's Yan.
Today we're going to talk about the independent music scene in Taiwan.
Independent music.
Yeah. Yep. So the first question for you guys. What do you think is independent music?
Wow.
What is independent music?
Just give me a very broad description about independent music. Okay?
Like for me, independent music just... I think for me, it's like they quite have their style and maybe strong on their style and stick to kind of a certain maybe ideology or like their way of doing things. Yeah, that's my definition.
Okay, how about you, Daniel? What do you think is
actually, I'm thinking the boundary between independent music and mainstream music.
Okay.
I think independent music, they have more spirit of trying new things.
Trying new things.
Yes, maybe new,
innovative.
Innovative, yeah.
Maybe new instruments, new style, new topic.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So
cool.
This is a part of a two-part series of independent music. Today we're going to talk about maybe some of the past, a little bit of the history, maybe tell a little story about independent music or thoughts on independent music. And on the Saturday episode, we're going to talk about one of our favorite bands. Okay.
Yeah. Our favorite music.
Our favorite bands. Okay. So be sure to listen to that if you're interested.
Okay.
And so today, let's start with independent music. Okay. So this is something that is very special to me, very important to me, and so I think this is a very good topic for us to discuss here. Okay. Yeah. So first, regarding your question on independent music and mainstream music. Okay. So it is generally believed that the difference between independent music and mainstream music is whether they have a big record label behind them. Okay?
Record label.
Yeah.
The corporation.
Yeah, corporation like a famous one, Time Warner.
Time Warner, yeah. Very Sony or something.
EMG, like that.
Yeah.
So
very famous.
Yeah, there are like these big record labels behind them. So in America or in other parts of the world, how do you separate mainstream music and independent music is through like knowing if they have a big record label behind them.
So that's the genre divided here.
That is normally the division between these two kind of music.
That's quite objective.
Yeah. But something very special about the Taiwanese music scene is that that a lot of artists that have found success in the mainstream has also decided to keep their indie identity.
Cool.
Okay, so
is there an example or something?
Yeah, so in Taiwan, we have this very special band called Mayday.
Very
Taiwanese
famous
band all across Asia, very famous.
Love them.
So they were originally an indie band in Taiwan, but they found mainstream success all across Asia, across the world, and so they started their own record label here in Taiwan. And I think they are still promoting some level of independent music,
like their own style and their way of doing
Though
things.
they're in Taiwan, they are, I think they are regarded as mainstream music, but I think they help a lot of indie artists.
Okay. So it's like they're publishing different kinds of different kinds of songs, albums through their labels, right?
Yes.
That's
so
cool.
Today we're going to share a lot of these music groups with you. Also, share some of their stories. And perhaps you might also find something you like.
Looking forward to them.
Yeah, you can also try and listen to them, on Spotify or anything. Yeah. So the first part of the story I want to talk about is actually the recent rise of independent music.
It's recent. Right?
It's recent. I think it's in the past 10, 20 years. Is the rise of
quite a short history
of the contemporary independent music, like currently what we listen to right now.
Yeah.
Okay, so. Like I said, I think independent music in Taiwan takes on a new meaning. Okay.
Yeah.
I believe that independent music can be categorized as its own genre here in Taiwan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Same feeling as my thoughts. Yeah.
So though their music styles may vary, I think they all have one thing in common. Okay. Yeah. And I'll try to describe it to you guys through an analogy.
Okay? Yeah. Okay.
So what is it?
Ever needed?
I think it's a little bit like Aesop's Tales.
Aesop's Tale?
Have you heard of Aesop's Tales?
Oh, I know.
Like it's kind of story.
Like the hare and the tortoise.
The hare and the tortoise. Yeah.
Yeah.
Heard of them?
Something like that. So they're a story, right?
Yeah.
And then they tell you something bigger than the story, right? right? So you learn something from the stories, right?
So it's kind of like sending a message to us, to our audience, right?
Very true.
So they have more profound meaning.
Yes, they have a more
layer
deeper
after
meaning.
layer, I would say.
Besides of the story. So I would like to describe Taiwanese independent music as such. Okay, so maybe they might be metal, they might be pop, or they might be electronic even, or rap, but they take on a deeper meaning than...
They have their own identity, right?
Yeah, than what meets the eye, or in this case, what meets the ear. Okay, so so let's talk about the origin of indie music in the United States and the United Kingdom in England. Okay,
that's part of them I'm not quite familiar with.
So I think Taiwanese independent music is comparable to that time in the Western world. Okay, so indie music in the 70s were meant as a countercultural movement.
Countercultural movement. So the culture here is like mainstream culture.
Yeah, mainstream culture.
Okay.
Like globalization, or like all the government and the politicians
and peace promoting, or something.
In the 70s. Okay, so I think Taiwanese indie music nowadays have the same kind of antisocial energy.
Yeah, I can feel that from my point of view.
Sometimes they're angry at their government. Sometimes their music you can hear that they're angry.
They're angry at something.
A lot of sad emotion, or maybe, all sorts of emotion.
Some criticism on society.
A lot of that also. But I think what's different is that we have some of positive outlooks. Okay. So like a very band I like. A very famous band I like called Fire Extinguisher.
I love them very much.
We love them very much. So it's a Taiwanese band. And we'll talk about more about that in the next episode.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm gonna just briefly talk about this band. They talk a lot about the Taiwanese social issues. Yeah. Okay? They talk a lot
every time. They show
society,
every issue, every movement, every time.
It's part of their agenda. Yeah. Okay. But I think all their songs have this positive outlook on life.
Very positive, I would say.
Yeah. So you would feel motivated after listening to their songs.
It's even aggressive, I would say. Yeah.
And so that is why I think, Taiwanese indie music is a little bit different from what was there in the States in the 70s. Okay. So in the 70s, maybe drugs were involved in the making of indie music or other other not that good stuff.
The image of them will like being labelized by some like they're drug heads or like
so their voices might be a little bit dimmed by the public. But in Taiwan, I think our voices are heard. Okay, the voices of indie music, they are heard by a lot of people, and people really treat this importantly. Okay,
widespread.
We take value in what they say, right? Okay, so another reason I think indie music in Taiwan takes on a new meaning is because they sometimes are actually in the mainstream.
Okay? That's cool.
Yeah, so that is very special. Very, you cannot
indie mainstream
think about this, right?
Merging together.
It's hard to understand why indie music can sometimes actually be the mainstream.
Is it an international phenomenon?
No, I don't think so. I think it's very special to Taiwan.
Oh.
And I think I have a few reasons I think why this is the case.
Oh, really?
Okay. Yeah. So I think in Taiwan there are not that many big record labels. So in Taiwan there are a lot of smaller indie labels
comparing to Warner Brothers,
Times Warner, all that big labels. And I think in fact some indie bands in Taiwan regularly win the GMA. So the Golden Melody Awards in Taiwan. So a lot of indie artists, after they win the GMA, their songs get played on radio all the time.
All the time,
they get shared on social media
like
a lot.
These 2 years, it gets like explosion on the media.
I think for the recent 2 years, the best bands were all won by indie bands.
Yeah, really? Yeah. That's true. That's true.
And these bands suddenly blew up in Taiwan. Okay, so their songs are heard everywhere. So though you classify them as indie music, they're actually heard.
I go to some
spread across the island.
I go to some snack shop or like some stall. They just play those music.
Like also in the night markets.
Also in the night markets everywhere.
If you listen to our episode on night markets last week. So it is heard everywhere. So that is why I think you cannot label independent music and mainstream music in Taiwan this easily as
not so indie and not so mainstream.
I think the border is a bit more blurred in Taiwan. Okay. So that is the first part, I think, the recent rise of independent music that I wanted to talk about.
So how do you think about independent music? They have their own styles or melodies or like on their rhythms. So how do you like think about their themes? Like
themes. So let's talk about the themes of independent music. Okay, so let's just get straight to the point here. Okay. So some independent music in Taiwan is sometimes heavily political.
Yes, that's true.
Okay, it's heavily political, and I do believe that music and politics cannot be separated.
Not only music, in any creation style,
anything,
related,
even technology. Okay,
even technology, definitely.
So, like with all indie music, there's always a group within indie music that is anti-social construct.
Definitely,
that's a given. Okay, so no matter what kind of things you talk about in indie music, there's always some people that talk about politics.
Yeah,
because it's such a big part of our lives, and it is normally a very heavy subject that you cannot openly discuss with people that easily, right? So you really need to have this kind of anti-social label for you to easier convey this message to the public. Okay, so I think such bands reached the height of their popularity during the 2014 Sunflower Student Movement here in Taiwan. So the Sunflower Student Movement was a social movement here in Taiwan that consists of college students that happened 6 years ago. Okay,
6 years.
So they took over the legislative yuan and all that stuff, and so it's a very political movement, right? So a lot of the bands, including like Firing Extinguisher and maybe
other indie
bands or metal bands, they were involved in this student movement. And this student movement actually carried along a new wave of legislation of I think legislative officials here in Taiwan. So it was a very, very important maybe movement,
very influential,
influential
to the youngsters events.
And so that brought along these kind of new indie music, and I think that is the reason why independent music are much widely spread and widely acceptable in Taiwan.
Kind of like droplets of politics put into the pond of culture. And just exploded.
So will we say the Sunflower Movement is the starting point of independent development in Taiwan?
Definitely not.
I wouldn't say it's a starting point, but it is a very
big event.
Important event that helps spread independent music in Taiwan.
A road mark, I would say.
So
milestone. Yes.
So these songs are patriotic to Taiwan as an island, compared to the Republic of China that's ruling Taiwan. Okay.
Yeah.
This is part of a bigger issue, and this is too much for this episode. I'll leave it at that, and we will tell the story maybe some other time.
If you're interested, just Google it.
Actually, don't Google it.
Okay. It's too.
And listen to our episodes.
DM us. Okay.
Okay.
But it is really important to understand that some parts of indie music is inherently political.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So politics, a very big theme in independent music.
It's kind of a fact that we have to face as Taiwanese.
I think independent music couldn't have existed in the 70s without politics getting
involved. Yeah.
So you really can't get rid of it.
The social
and you shouldn't get rid of it. Yeah. So, but there are also other themes beside political themes, right? So there are also many other social related themes. Like generally there are a lot of songs that talk about the social problems of Taiwan, as well as through different perspectives of the Taiwanese population.
And also environmental. I've heard lots of songs about their environments, movements.
So for example, there was a band that talked about the education problem. And how cram schools profit on the fear of young students in Taiwan.
Oh yeah, that one's really good.
That one is actually Daniel's favorite band. And if you want to know which one it is, be sure to listen to Saturday's episode.
Just keep it secret here.
Looking forward to it.
Yes. And another band tells the story of hardships of gangster culture in Taiwan.
Hardships,
they talk about with romantic perspective of the gangster culture in Taiwan.
And their struggle, like their stories.
And it actually had a really big effect on Taiwan because a lot of actually Taiwanese traditional local gangsters, they actually were very, very into this song. And they played it like all across.
And they're
Taiwan.
touched mostly. And that's the power of music.
And I think the real influence is that it brought this, this culture into the mainstream for people to really understand or try to understand what it means to be like
a gangster, or
Taiwan.
why you would like to be a gangster,
or the struggles,
and their struggles are generally ignored by the society.
So I think
generally
you can be more compassionate to these kind of people through this kind of music.
These kind of musics,
and that is why I think it is very good and important. Okay,
I love that too.
So some bands even talk about cab drivers.
Cab drivers.
Talk about
I love that song very
the
much.
hardships of cab drivers.
Yeah.
And even sometimes overseas contract workers.
So
in Taiwan we have a lot of overseas workers from Southeast Asia.
Yeah.
And there are also songs that cover this topic. Okay, so any topic you can think of, you can find a song about it. And for us, laymen, it's really important and very helpful for us to understand other perspectives, right?
For me, it's like those creators. They're building kind of a lighthouse of those groups that are long ignored, and their problems are not faced by the whole society, and they're trying to like speak out for them. Yeah, and I think that those compassionate influence is very good to the whole society. Yeah.
I feel like it's more like a kaleidoscope. Okay, so
kaleidoscope,
you can see all the different perspectives of social culture, and it's very, very good. Okay, so the next one is also a very, very important aspect of independent music here in Taiwan. Okay, so independent music in Taiwan is sometimes written in Taiwanese.
Yeah.
Okay, so that may be weird to you because you think maybe there are Taiwanese bands, but why do you have to talk about this? Taiwan being an immigrant culture has a big problem with our vanishing mother tongue. Okay, so in Taiwan I think a lot of people speak Mandarin, traditional
like
Mandarin.
People.
Yeah, most people in our daily lives we speak traditional Mandarin,
but there's reasons.
But actually our parents or our grandparents, they spoke Taiwanese. Okay, so Taiwanese was an oppressed culture in Taiwan. So I think in our parents or our grandparents' time, they were actually forbidden to speak Taiwanese in school, and which results in now currently our younger generation have no idea how to speak Taiwanese, and nobody speaks Taiwanese or Hakka. Or even
any local or Aboriginal languages.
And that is a big problem.
Very big problem.
It's a very big problem.
And the culture that's loaded by those languages are like vanishing.
So independent music brings attention to this kind of social problem through music. Okay, so they sing a lot of sometimes a lot of songs are written in Taiwanese, sung in Taiwanese, so you can understand how it impacts the younger generation. So if the younger generation all listen to these kind of songs, they may generally learn how to listen to Taiwanese, how to understand Taiwanese, or maybe how to speak Taiwanese, or even want to learn Taiwanese for themselves, right? So I know Taiwanese is mother tongue to both of you. It is not to me. I also learned to understand Taiwanese through indie music. So I don't know how to speak Taiwanese still, but I think a little bit.
From the lyrics,
I think I can. I think I have conversational Taiwanese, but I can understand like 70% of Taiwanese because I listen to indie music.
That's a very good phenomenon.
Very special, right? Yeah, that's very special. Nobody spoke Taiwanese to me, but through these songs I can understand. And originally I didn't even understand these songs, and I listened to them. So you really can understand how big of an impact this kind of phenomena is.
It's like into a whole new different culture. Actually, me and James sometimes talk about the lyrics of indie music. He'll ask me about what's the meaning because he listens to the melodies, and
because I want to understand what they're talking about.
And after I explain all the like the song of the Southeast Asian worker, and you'll have a whole new perspective of the song and of the creation that the creators provide you.
So because you like this song, you want to understand what this song is talking about, and then you will learn Taiwanese, which is very good.
Very good.
Yeah. So what are your experiences with this kind of phenomenon? How has listening to indie music got you closer to Taiwanese or your mother tongue?
Like for me, like Taiwanese mother tongue, those things or those issues I cared so much in my heart. So like I do try to learn Taiwanese. If you listen to our previous episode, actually that's kind of the the milestone of my 2019 goal. So like listen to all these music, like make me more confident about the whole culture of Taiwanese. And when it feels like I'm not ignored.
Okay,
that's my feeling.
Yeah.
So how about you, Daniel?
The independent music I listen to not in Taiwanese, but I do like the way they tell the story. How they focus on specific issues. Normally, most of the people won't know this.
Yeah.
Like the one you just mentioned, the education system in Taiwan.
That's very good.
Yes, I have strong resonance about this issue.
Yes. So actually, some of my favorite bands sing exclusively in Taiwanese or mostly Taiwanese. Yeah. So we will talk more about them on Saturday. So be sure to follow us. And I want to add one last point of independent music in Taiwanese.
Okay.
Is that actually sometimes when you sing in Taiwanese, it has a better power or better rhythm or feel to it. Compared to Mandarin. Okay?
Very different.
I think Taiwanese is very suitable for rock music. For metal music, you have this inherent power in the language. I think
it's like the pronunciation is different.
Through their pronunciation, their syllables and all that, all the accents,
will be powerful.
You get a better
rhythm
experience of rock music. If it's fair to say it at all. But generally, I think it's very nice for these bands to open us up to these different issues.
It's like changing a language or changing a whole system of pronunciation. Just bring melodies into a different level.
And then I think we try to do the same with this podcast, to try to open people up to these issues. And so we will introduce these bands to you, and hopefully you can get inspired also.
Okay.
Yeah. So do you have any questions for me today after my story?
Yes, I have some questions.
Short story. Yeah. Okay. Please.
Can you explain why most independent music focus on younger generations?
Okay.
In Taiwan,
focus on younger generation.
Yeah, focus on younger generation. I wouldn't say they focus on the younger generation, but I would say maybe their audience is mostly the younger generation. And I think there are a couple reasons to this. The first reason, I think the most important reason, is that we listen to music very differently from what our parents or our grandparents did, right?
Yeah, the accessibility problem.
Yeah. So they usually listen to the radio, and I think they still listen to the radio now. And,
yes.
And as you know, with radio, you can't really choose what you listen to, right? So what they play is normally what you listen to.
Yeah. And it was chosen by the host or
or else you would have to buy records or CDs, right? But with our generation, we have things like Spotify, like YouTube. Right, so it's much easier for this kind of music to spread across our generation, and for us to listen to these various kinds of music, right? And also, this is especially important with independent music because they normally might not get that much exposure. So only with internet and with its accessibilities that you can listen to these smaller bands. Yeah, that's the first reason. The second reason, I think it's a political one. Political reason, because I think independent music is generally very anti-social construct, and as you know, the elder generation, at least for now, they hold the
conservative
power, and I think that is a reason why independent music are not that appealing to them, right?
Like the generation gap between
because they're essentially saying that we don't agree with you, we want to fight with you, and so I don't think that they are their target audience, per se. Yeah,
it's kind of there's an element of reflection or fighting for their own voice inside them, and that's for youngsters.
I think younger people are more compassionate with this kind of sentiment. Right? Okay, so any more questions?
So you said about the part of internet, so
I think independent music and the internet.
I think that's
okay.
My question is that, do you think that independent music is like success or raised because of internet growth?
I wouldn't say there are raised by the internet, because during the 70s they also had the indie music, and they spread through like going to shows or like selling their CDs, but definitely you would say that the internet is a big influence on the current generation of independent music. Like I said, the bands are generally smaller.
Yeah.
You know, and with literally no budget, you can advertise yourself
no
on
budget.
Facebook.
That's the problem. Yeah.
On Facebook. With no budget, you can advertise yourself on Facebook. So I think that helps the growth of indie bands. And also with apps like Street Voice here in Taiwan.
Street Voice.
You can listen to indie bands for free.
Yeah.
And so that is, I think, helps spread independent music. Yeah. And so I believe there will be a new kind of independent music that's anti-internet.
Anti-internet.
In the possible in the near future.
Okay. So check on every critics on every kind of social construct.
Mark my words.
Yeah. Okay. I'll mark them to here now. Okay. So I think I have a final question for you.
Okay. Please.
Do you think, like you said, Taiwanese independent music has a blur identity between mainstream,
independent and mainstream?
So do you think maybe like someday Taiwanese independent music that just go to mainstream, it like replace mainstream?
Okay. Yeah. So I think that is a problem of definition, right?
Okay.
So I think independent music in Taiwan, like I said, I think the definition is that they have a deeper meaning of talking about stuff,
issues.
Right? Yeah, talking about
they
issues.
have message to transmit.
While I think mainstream music, maybe they talk about love, or they talk about more of the lighter stuff,
emotions, things.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think they're inherently different, and I don't think no matter how many people listen to independent music, they might not change into mainstream. I think they will not change to mainstream. That is my my view on this point.
So
but
maybe
it might change. It might change in the future. Yeah.
Maybe sometimes the so-called mainstream become one kind of indie. Maybe the world will change.
We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that's about the time we have for today.
And then mark your words here.
Okay, be sure to follow us. Yeah, be sure to follow us on Facebook, on YouTube, and listen on Spotify or anything. And remember to follow us on Saturday.
Yeah. And just click some indie music from Taiwan on Spotify or on YouTube. Just try. Yeah. And
listen to them. I think you'll enjoy them. Okay.
Love to share with you like Taiwanese culture.
Yeah. So we'll see you next time.
See ya.